Damn. I don't even know what to do. I hate this shit right now, bro. I'm so fucking frustrated. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. I wanted to come on here and talk about, I guess, current events. I think I'm gonna start going live. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. I think I'm gonna start going live and like setting up like a script for myself and just talking about like all of the things that I've been wanting to make videos about, just talking about them in a live. I think I'm gonna start doing that and then chopping it up and putting out like clips from it as like individual videos. What's good, bro? I am a little upset. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely a little frustrated right now. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm just trying to get through it and figure it all out. Appreciate you though. Appreciate you. But yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just right now I just don't know like what it was that I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now though, like so much stuff. Like so much stuff. It's kind of hard territory to chart sometimes, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the things that are going on right now are very um what's the word? It's just a lot of like just nasty stuff, you know, nasty stuff. And I'm from America, and it's hard with all that stuff to like really like speak about it and not, you know, get like hate or backlash and stuff. And plus, a lot of the things that are going on right now is like terrorist threats, terrorist attacks, people dying, like mass shootings, just like all terrible, terrible stuff. You said I'm from Nigeria. How about you? I said I'm from America. That's dope. I've never been to Nigeria, but yeah, I'm from America. But that's like my plan that I want to start doing. I forget what it was that. Oh, you know what it was? I think it was the Ebro situation. Yeah, I'm gonna start with the Ebro situation. I'm gonna start with Ebro. So if people don't know Ebro, he was like the what was it called? Um, the something director. Pretty much he ran like Hot 97 to a certain degree, and he's been doing that for like the last like it's got to be like 20 years. He's been the program director for Hot 97 for the last like 20 years. And after becoming the program director, he made himself the show host as well as the program director later on into his like career, I guess, or whatever. But to make a long story short, he was fired from Hot 97. Him, the female, the woman who's with him, I forget her name, I'm so sorry, and Rosenberg, they were all fired from Hot 97. And like it just caused a lot of uproar in the hip hop community. And for good reason, you know. I mean, to be honest, like Ebro unfortunately has had like this position in the hip hop industry as like this old man gatekeeper, and he's like thrown his weight around so much from that perspective that it's kind of hard to be like a fan or a member of the hip hop culture and not kind of feel happy that what happened has happened. Like Ebro was literally the dude that was sitting across from Little Uzi Vert, like arguing with Little Uzi Vert, trying to make him feel that he was less important than he was, or that he wasn't as talented as he was, or that Ebro was gonna outlast him. And it's like Ebro was so tone deaf that he didn't even realize that he was talking to like someone that the younger generation viewed as like a legend at that moment. Like the younger generation viewed Uzi as like that guy at that moment. And then here's Ebro sitting here trying to like convince him that he's not that guy. Like I think that right there was the moment that I realized like, yo, Ebro is out of touch, dog. Like so out of touch. And like it came from a place of like it felt like animosity or hatred toward the younger guys being successful without having to care about some of the accolades or metrics that someone like Ebro cared about. You know, like the younger guys, they didn't care about you know, making, or excuse me, they didn't care about like rapping abilities. They didn't care about being able to freestyle. They didn't care about none of that stuff. They cared about making bangers, you know, making songs that, you know, people feel are like, you know, vibes type stuff. You know what I mean? They're not like a 90s boom bap rapper, but for some reason Ebro was trying so hard to like hold them to that standard while still never even playing 90s boom bap rap music. Like it's crazy. Like he would like have younger artists come on his platform, and then he would try to like belittle them a little bit, making it seem like because they're not like purist hip hop creators, that are doing it from the perspective of a boom bap, like that they're somehow lesser than, but then would turn around and not play a single boom bap song on his radio station. Like, it's just crazy. And, a lot of New York artists would even cite him as the destruction or the fall of New York hip hop culture because prior to him, or around the time where he was coming up, hip hop or excuse me, New York had like a sound. Like there was a New York hip hop sound. And that sound died because Ebro notoriously stopped playing local New York artists on the New York radio station. And he was the program director. So like he made that decision. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just like this weird situation where like a lot of the things I feel like Ebro was doing in that position was just from a place of hatred. Like he stopped playing New York artists, I feel, because he was, had his own personal disagreements with this New York artist and that New York artist. And then the whole drill scene popped off in New York. And then Ebro tried to make a stance against the drill scene by saying we're not going to promote, you know, drugs and violence and death. So, that year, no New York artist performed at Summer Jam. And yeah, and Summer Jam was like New York's big thing. It was like their big show where all the New York artists got an opportunity to grace the stage and perform in front of thousands of people. But because of Ebro and this stance he decided to take, he set a precedent of there being zero New York artists at Summer Jam, and it just continued from there, where you see less and less New York artists at that New York centered festival. So like, there's just a lot of things that you could trace back to Ebro, and it's not a very like it doesn't shine a very positive light on what he did for the culture. I think Ebro believes, or let me not say that. I'm gonna say Ebro is the type of person I feel that he weighed his personal relationships with people very heavily, and that determined how he did his job as a program director and as a media personality. And unfortunately, that doesn't always like generate like positively for you as an individual, because I mean, I know to you you may feel like, oh, I am helping people because you're helping the people that you like, but other people see it as he's just helping the people that he likes. He's not putting other like up and coming artists on. He's not, you know he's not he's not pushing the culture. He's just pushing forward his friends. And even if even if one of your friends falls into the category of the type of people that you normally don't promote, you're still just promoting your friend. You can't say, oh, I promote underground artists because I promoted my one friend who happens to be an underground artist. Like, you can't do that. And I feel as if that's why so many people are like happy that Ebro isn't in his position anymore. He was using that position and the weight that he carried from that position to like strong arm people around, and then on top of that, he's sitting across from some of our legends, some of the people from our generation who we revere, and telling them that you're not going to last a test of time like me. And it's like, well, what even gives you that idea? Like, thank you, I appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. What even gives you that idea? Like, you're not even putting your best foot forward and going out of your way to usher in the future. You're not even doing that. You're like actively trying to hold back the future and hold people back, you know? So, I don't know. I just don't understand why stations like Hot 97 or The Breakfast Club, like I don't understand why they don't have like a specific block or segment literally run by young talent, young up and coming talent, like very young talent, exclusively geared toward promoting like the new genre, like the new whatever the young kids are listening to, even if you don't like it. Like, they should have had a radio station that was, or a segment or a block that was like putting people on to like hyperpop and all these other newer genres, and like not because of the people that watch Hot 97, but because of the people who don't. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't understand why you would run a radio station and try to cater to like hip hop purists when like the idea of a hip hop purist is slowly but surely dead and gone, you know? And that's not to say that people don't still listen to hip hop purist music and like boom bap, like they still do, but it's not what's moving the culture. It's not. So like to fight against that is literally you doing exactly what the creators or the pioneers of disco and rock and roll tried to do when hip hop first came about. It's like you're just continuing the cycle, you know? So I'm not gonna say I'm happy Ebro lost his job. I'm definitely not happy. I'm just excited to see where Hot 97 goes from here. And because they've been acquired by a new parent company, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of the things that I'm saying they should have done actually happen. Like I could imagine the old parent company probably were just listening to like Ebro or like someone else within the company and not really being willing to take risks because they didn't have to. You know, taking risk for for a company that old would more than likely just result in you taking on extra debt when you don't need to, especially if the company is doing well enough to like, you know, stay a little bit above the green or just stay in the yellow. You know, you making a big risk could easily put you in the red. But now since they've been brought by another company, that company now has debt that they need to like repay. So since they have debt to repay, they really have nothing to lose by just trying anything under the sun to see what sticks. So with that being said, I do think that we might be able to see like a very positive future for Hot 97. And yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with everything from here. I know Ebro's still on Apple Music, and you know, I don't think he's like a bad person or anything. I just think Ebro he's an old dude, and some old dudes are very, very stuck in their ways, and they feel like changing their mind or easing up on their beliefs is a sign of weakness or failure. So they tend not to. But I just don't understand how Ebro like or why he like was so hell bent on like convincing all the new up and coming artists that they weren't gonna be there tomorrow or 10 years from now or whatever the case may be. And literally almost every single one that he's mentioned or that he told that to, they're still here and they're doing like pretty well for themselves. Little Yachty, Little Uzi Vert, I mean, I can't really name too many more, but even Drake is another example of someone that he, you know, wanted to see the demise of, and it just never came to fruition. So yeah, I guess that's all I had to say about the Ebro situation. I mean, it sucks because, you know, I can imagine that being a very devastating thing. Like I could imagine, you know, I've been in job positions where I was like really honored to have that title and be in that position, and then, you know, you lose it, and it's like shit, like you kind of feel like you lost a part of yourself a little bit. So I definitely can understand like that mindset. And like I don't really wish that on anybody. I had no personal beef with Ebro, so I definitely am not happy that he was fired, like as a person. But I am happy that this seems like with all of this going on, that there's gonna be something new on the horizon. And Hot 97 is such a legendary legacy IP that, you know, I'm sure they're gonna figure something out and it's gonna be pretty great. But yeah, that was the Ebro situation. That's what I wanted to say about that. And I think that's all I got to say about the Ebro situation. Honestly, I think that's about it. I hope the best for Ebro, and whenever he gets the opportunity to speak on Apple Music and like speak and say something, like I'll definitely tune in and see what he has to say. I really, really hope that they don't like just keep doing what they were doing at Hot 97, both Ebro and the actual Hot 97. Like I really hope Hot 97, and I'm almost certain that they're gonna make some huge changes. Like they have debt now. They've been brought by another company. That company's in debt because of the purchase, or in theory, they're in debt because of the purchase. So they have to make that money to make that purchase make sense. So they're gonna do whatever they can do to make that money. So that's I'm confident in that. But I mainly just hope that like Ebro, Rosenberg, and is it Lawrence Styles? I hope that they don't just move over to YouTube and keep doing the same thing that they were doing on Hot 97. They need to do something a little different. Like, clearly, they need to do something a little different. And they need to be more open and receptive to other people's talents. Like, there's a lot of new music or new music styles that have come up in recent time that, like, you know, like I don't particularly like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of sounds that I've heard that I think are just absolute fucking garbage. And you know, it gets championed for one reason or another. But if I were in Ebro's position, I would try to find some way to look or analyze these songs like critically, you know what I mean? Like instead of just hating it, like I understand like you can hear like for example like a Uno Miles song and tell like okay, this is fucking stupid and he's clearly just doing this to be like a troll, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you can't still find appreciation in the thought process behind it. And you know, if something is really bad to the point where like it actually does what you are looking for it to do, which is generate views for you or create some type of community from, then clearly there's something in it that has redeemable qualities. Like it's clearly not as bad as you think it is. Or maybe your ears just aren't trained to it, or you're just not in the right state of mind to enjoy it. Hello, welcome to the stream. But yeah, you know, like it's like it, you know, like there isn't a universal this is what a good song is supposed to sound like. I mean, there is in theory, but in execution, there just isn't. You know, so if you're not a musician yourself, if your job is just to kind of document and like bring awareness or gain more information on people who create music, like if that's your job, then you should do 90% of that job without actually allowing your opinions on the music. You should do 98% of that job without allowing your opinions of the music to affect how you do the job, you know? And the 2% is just reserved for like giving out accolades or rewards or honoring people. Like you obviously shouldn't honor someone who's making terrible music just because you think they deserve like a participation trophy. Um, you know, I think that's like the only time where you should like where your opinion on the music should matter unless you're writing an opinion piece. But if you're just interviewing an artist and you don't like that artist's music, I don't think you need to let them know. Like I don't think you should make it your mission to let them know, "Oh, I don't like your music." Like so then why the fuck are you interviewing me? You know? And it's like, "Oh, well because your people reached out to, you know, our people and for whatever reason they decided it was mutually beneficial, so here we are." And it's like, "Okay, well, so, I mean, that alone should tell you everything you need to know. Like, okay, so that means that there's something behind this. There's something going on behind the scenes worth maybe looking more into, you know? But, you know, it is what it is. I could also understand his point of view. Like, this is ass. I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush. It's ass. You know, it's just, you know, you know, and I'm not going to talk about this Ebro thing for much longer, but I could have understood, like, where Ebro was coming from in certain situations if he was actually interviewing people that were trash and like exposing them for that. But the majority of the time he was just interviewing talented people who were talented in ways that he didn't appreciate, you know, and it's not how the world works, you know, like to try to say Little Uzi Vert was trash or just something that's gonna be here for a moment when he like literally has like a very distinct sound and really ushered in a whole generation of like people who try to look like him and sound like him. It just shows how out of touch he was, you know? It just shows like this dude is out of touch, like out of touch, you know? Out of fucking touch. So yeah, man. Shouts out to Hot 97. Shouts out to Ebro. I'm excited to see what comes next. All right, so I'm gonna keep on going. We already did it, so I'm gonna keep on going. Anything that I do in this live, I'm gonna chop up later on, and I'm gonna put it out as like its own little short form content. And I'm gonna just talk. And yeah, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about the Joe Budden and, or excuse me, the DJ Academics and Don't Call Me White Girl Mona situation. There's not a lot going on with that, but to make a long story short, Mona went on the Joe Budden podcast. So she's a member of the Joe Budden podcast, like a host or whatever. And she was on the podcast and DJ Academics came up and she had some pretty disparaging things to say about DJ Academics to the point where it kind of seemed like maybe they have like some personal beef between each other. I don't really know. However, just the things that she said clearly knowing DJ Academics, like it warranted a response, and of course, he responded. So DJ Academics responded to Mona, and he pretty much just went on like a rant on live about her, calling her all types of names. I'm not gonna repeat any of them, but he called her all types of names, all types of just terrible stuff, and yeah, he just went at her like I knew he would. And now I'm kind of curious to see how Mona is gonna handle it. Pretty much what he said, those are fighting words. Like the stuff that DJ Academic said, like you gotta fight that dude. Like you gotta, it's gonna be fighting words. I'm eager to see what she's gonna do on the next podcast. If she's gonna address it, if she's not gonna address it. Um, Mainly cause like I don't know if Mona can really like hold her own against academics. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I think Mona's pretty funny. I think she's really, really cool. I just think, however, in certain situations, especially in ones where she might not have the most information, I feel like it doesn't really I feel like she doesn't really translate well in some situations where she doesn't have the information that she needs. And I don't feel as if she is willing to go as in depth as someone like DJ Academics is. Like when DJ Academics has a vendetta against someone, he will literally like search the entire earth for dirt and information on that person to embarrass them. I just don't think Mona will do that, nor do I think like she really has the connections to. I think Mona would more than likely not say anything and then have like someone like get at act like behind the scenes. Like I would imagine that more than anything. But that's just like my assumptions of the situation. And you know, I would like to know like why Mona even said what she said. Like I kind of agree with some of the things she said a little bit. Like one of the things she said was that, DJ Academics, made his career off of the whole war in Chirac thing. And despite that not being entirely true, I 100% understand why someone would take that position. I was following DJ Academics before he started doing War in Chirac, so I can definitely tell you like the war in Chirac isn't what started or like necessarily it isn't what necessarily blew him up. I think it was a combination of things, and the War of Chirac was one of those things, for sure. However, if he never did War in Chirac, I do think he still would have blown up because he was already on that trajectory. He was already making a lot of videos, getting a lot of views and subscribers, and he just started doing the War of Chirac as like a second account thing. And I think if I remember correctly, he did it specifically because he was running into so much information in regards to the war in Chicago that he felt as if it was kind of oversaturating his page by like posting it all in one place. So that's why, to my understanding, that's why he started the whole War on Chirac page, and yeah, it just kind of I guess took off from there. But she said that, and I don't. I am someone who actually have felt that way about DJ Academics. Hell yeah, man, appreciate you in the past, but after like really looking into what I was saying, I realized it's not very true. Um, I just think at the end of the day, like DJ Academics never said anything about Mona. Like he never calls her name out of turn or anything like that. Like her saying what she said on the Joe Budden podcast to me seemed pretty warrantless. Like it didn't seem necessary, and I even feel like Joe kind of had that same sentiments based on how he responded to what she said in the moment. But he's just, he's not the type to stifle someone from speaking. So he's going to allow you to speak your piece. And that's what he did. I just personally feel like this situation, if Mona lets it go to like, if Mona lets it hurt her feelings or get under her skin, I do believe that it might cause some behind the scenes turmoil that we're not going to be privy to really, but it's probably going to like draw a wedge between Mona and the rest of the cast. And I say this because Mona kind of made it pretty clear that she doesn't like if she doesn't fuck with someone, she kind of expects you to not fuck with them either. She made that pretty clear. I think she put like a caveat in there where it was like if you knew that person first, then it's whatever. So maybe that matters. I don't know. But I'm saying that to say like I feel like I feel like because of the things that academics said, like he was so disrespectful that I feel like Mona is gonna look toward her castmates to kind of have her back and go after academics kind of for her. but they're obviously not going to do that because just about everyone on that pod has some type of okay relationship with academics, especially Joe Budden. So I don't see them helping her, and I don't know if she would be accepting of that, if that makes sense. You know, like I kind of predict that this could be the beginnings of the end for her on the pod. And I hate to say that only because I'm just looking at the situation and I'm just thinking, like, based on what I think I know about her, how I think she's going to respond. I could be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong. I don't know her at all. I'm just making assumptions. But I could see a world where she's like, oh wow, you're not gonna defend me. I bet it's up. And then like she's not gonna necessarily like start beef with anybody on the pod, but she's probably from that point gonna just start phoning it in and being less and less present. You know what I mean? I feel like that could be in the cards for the future. But who knows? She might go on the pod tomorrow or whenever they recorded, and she might rip academics a new one. She call that nigga fat, all Tom and Jerry looking ass, all types of stuff. And that's no disrespect to act, because I don't have any. I'm not like on anybody's side. I think Mona probably shouldn't have said what she said because Ack never said anything to her, and I also think that Ack went pretty crazy. I don't think I'm in a position to tell him how crazy he could have gone, but he went pretty crazy. I don't know if you know, he said some pretty fucked up stuff. He did, and then he brought up some of her past health issues and whatnot, and I think that's always like a touchy subject. One thing he did bring up, or he shed light to, was I didn't know like Mona was like a part of like this whole scamming situation. Like I didn't even know that, Like I did not know Mona was a part of like or being accused of being a scammer or whatnot. But that definitely was another thing that was brought to light. And I could see it. Like I don't doubt it. Like a Philly chick getting a little bit of internet notoriety, and now people are sending her money for this, that, and the third, and she decides one day, and I'm running off with it. Like I'm not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised. Definitely not surprised. But yeah, so interested to see where that goes from here. I'm definitely going to be tuned into DJ Academic's lives. I've actually been watching his lives like every night for like the last week. And I'm definitely going to be tuned into the podcast. I think they're dropping a new episode tomorrow if they haven't dropped one already. And yeah, that is the whole Mona and DJ Academics situation. It depends. I don't know what's gonna happen next. It all depends on Mona. If Mona doesn't say anything, academics probably won't say anything until her name gets brought up. But academics has this habit of after arguing with someone, like from then on out, anytime their name is brought up, he just slips in something derogatory to say about them. So I don't think that would change for Mona. I think he's probably gonna continue that trend for a while. And yeah, I don't know Mona too well, so I don't know how she's gonna respond. I really don't. But I'm hoping she comes with some jokes. I'm hoping she really goes on the pod and shows everyone that she is indeed a comedian and academics can get this work. That's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be tuned in, excited for all that. And yeah, so that was the Mona and DJ Academic situation. What was the other thing? Rosenberg, Ebro, Mona. I mean, I don't want to get political, but there's a lot of political things going on right now too. I don't really want to get political, especially because I don't really have a lot of the information I need to like have the political stance that I want to have all the time. So it's kind of hard for me to just like flat out say like, yo, this is happening and that is happening. But there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't even want to get into all that, but yeah. What are the rules? I don't even know what the rules are, honestly. I really don't. I made them a while ago. I love the rules. I cannot find the thing. I'm trying to figure out how to view the rules myself, but I can't. It's all right. Let me see some of these messages that were held. I don't know why my Streamlabs did that. I mean, granted, like, I just don't get why they did that so late. That girl came in so hot. She was like, "Hi, hi, I'm a fan. Hi, heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji." Banned. I'm sorry. I'm happy it's working. He said, "Dude, please spare us and don't go live. Please don't just record a video and post it." Why? I can do two birds, one stone. I can go live, gain my quick little subscribers from going live and my new little people who support me from going live. And then I can take the content from me going live and make actual videos for it from it. It's like perfect sense to me. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna start doing this more often. Just like coming here, talking about current events, not even really looking at the comments, and then chopping it up and putting it out there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. There was something else I wanted to talk about, I feel like, but I can't really remember. I've been like trying to get myself to do this for so long that I just forgot all the things I wanted to talk about. I definitely do not want to talk about anything political though. Like I really don't, truthfully. All right, I think that was good enough for now. It'd probably be easier for me to edit this anyways if it's a little bit shorter. But yeah, I appreciate you for tuning in. Peace.